will be giving an inspirational speech. Manual speech. He's been a Toastmaster for 5 years, a member of 2 clubs, both our club, Orange County Communicators, and Anaheim Club number 2. The title of his speech is The Promise I Made to My Father. On, fam, The Promise I Made to My Father.
I will never forget my last Christmas in Vietnam in 1987. I was 19, but I vividly recall my father looking at me and mumbling in a raspy voice as I knelt by his deathbed. Son, I always hoped to live long enough to see you get married. I assured him, Father, I will be different from my brothers and sister. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and most welcome guests. I said that just so he would not worry about my future and be proud of me. I did not imply that was my promise to my father until after he passed away. So tonight, I would like to share with you a story about my father's sickness and how and why my innocent response that I had with my father a couple of days before his passing became the life-changing promise that I was determined to keep, and how that promise shaped my future and make me who I am today. The great baseball pitcher Leroy Satchel Paige said, "Don't look back." But the great philosopher George Santayana said, "Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it." I choose to look back and learn from history, my history. Before his death, my father wished he could spend more time with his children. He wanted to see me get married and have my own family. But I was only 19 and the youngest in the family. I was his baby. I was too young to get married. My father had suffered through Parkinson's disease for 10 years before he passed away at the age of 67. 32 years ago, even in the United States, the most advanced country in the world, nobody really knew about Parkinson's disease. So at first, my father suffered tremor and body rigidity. When the disease worsened, he lost his facial expression and stiffness, and he encountered speech abnormality and stiffened muscle and posture. He lost his balance when standing or turning. He fell. His body shook uncontrollably, burning all the calories that would trigger his hunger and generate body heat that makes him always sweat. My brothers and sisters and I took turns to take care of him for several years. I remember many winters during cold and late nights. We filled several 5-gallon buckets with water obtained from the well in the backyard of our family home. We set our father on a chair next to the well, and we poured at least 10 of those buckets with cold water over him to keep him cool. After he passed away, I thought about what I said to him. It felt like what I said to him as my undelivered promise that now came back to haunt me. I asked myself, what and how I would do to be different from my brothers and sisters who have no future living in Vietnam. The local communist regime considered them the children of the enemy of the people. There was no hope for them to live a good life. There had no hope for them to pursue education. Some of the local communist police sent some of my brothers and sisters to rural area to perform hard labor. So I decided to transform the response that I had with my father to be the promise that I made to him. In Vietnam, we don't move out of parents' house until we get married. So I was torn between choosing staying with my mothers and siblings and taking the path never traveled by my brothers and sisters. I decided I must escape from the communist country of Vietnam to be different, fulfilling the promise that I made to my father. That decision made all the difference. I escaped from Vietnam and arrived in Hong Kong in 1988 with 27 other people on a tiny wooden boat. And after 2 weeks of struggling and surviving in the violent Pacific Ocean. So in the refugee camps in Hong Kong, I wanted to learn English and help my fellow Vietnamese. So after having been in the camp for 2 weeks, I asked the nurse who ran the clinic of the non-profit organization Save the Children that took care of young mother, Vietnamese mother, looking after their infants, to let me be her interpreter. My English was so basic, even broken. And doing interpretation for a clinic would require knowledge of medical terms. She said no. But I didn't give up. I begged her to let me try for a few weeks. I insisted that if she gave me books to study, I could apply what I studied at night to my interpretive work at the clinic during the day. Reluctantly and fortunately, she accepted, allowing me unique opportunity to excel. Through this experience, I learned, given the chance, a person can surpass on expectation with the right mindset and dedication. I also realized if I'm willing to take risks and proactively seek opportunities, I could design my own destiny. The opportunity to learn English and medical terms at the clinic in the refugee camp create momentum for me to attend colleges in the United States. The experience of overcoming obstacles pertaining to difficult life that I have in refugee camp create stamina and endurance for me to withstand challenging life in America. I obtained the education that I believe I would not be able to achieve had I still stayed in Vietnam. So, fulfilling the promise that I made to my father shaped my future and made me who I am today. After 32 years, it feels I'm still in the making of who I am today and in the future. It is safe for me to say that you and your significant others have achieved American life, American dreams. Successful people look back to decide what they can give back to their communities. So don't be afraid to look back, to understand who you are, to see what you can do to help others, to even make your life more meaningful, and to brighten your future outlook. I assume that you are here because you have made a promise to yourself that you will pursue to improve your communication skill. So for those of you who have joined Toastmasters but haven't made much progress, time is essential. The longer you wait, the less motivated you become. And for those of you who are here to look for a medium to acquire your communication skills, and also look for support or even friends along the way, a few years from now, tonight, when you look back, you will find your decision to join Toastmasters has made all the difference. Mr. Toastmaster.